All right, so we can start. I think the recording is on. So, good afternoon, everyone. I hope you're doing good and you're welcome to this session of today. Presenting the screen. Okay, amazing. So, today we're going to be looking about this specific and very important topic, giving and receiving effective feedback on today's career challenge. So, without further ado, let's just go on. Introduction here. What are we going to be learning here when it comes to feedback and giving feedback and receiving feedback, effective feedback and receiving effective feedback. So here, what you will learn, of course, there is understanding feedback. You will understand what is feedback and communication styles, then planning and giving effective feedback. We also learn to receive and considering effective feedback, but also PAL feedback model. So going forward, here is a question. Do you uh, uh, do you sometimes give yourself a feedback? Maybe when you have done something, maybe you have accomplished something, maybe anything. Do you sometimes give yourself a feedback? If you can answer in the chat box, that'll be also amazing. So of course, here going forward here, communication styles in a workplace. Here it means it's very important for managers and employees to understand the different communications styles of the team members. So when you're a manager somewhere or managers in different corporates, it's very, very important for them to understand different communication styles of their team members, for them to be successful, for them to be, there's different reasons, of course. So here, the first style here, we have passive communication. This one doesn't speak up too easily, and they are happy to go with the flow and support the needs for others. They don't want to speak a lot. They don't want to talk a lot. So this is the passive communicator. Passive communicator, they're just calm and they don't speak up too easily. It's not easy for them to speak. So they just keep calm and support the needs to others, give support and needs to others. When it comes to another style here, we have aggressive communicator. An aggressive communicator here is a very confident in their point of view, to the point that they won't listen to others' opinion, may feel unsupported, and the clarity of responsibilities need to be emphasized to help. Number three, we have passive aggressive communicator. The passive aggressive communicator doesn't feel comfortable saying what they mean. They doubt themselves. You can help them by making time for team building. So all this, if you are a manager, you should know there's this different communicator. There's this different people in your team. There's this different team members. Passive communicator, aggressive communicator, and passive aggressive communicator. But we also have, last one but not least, assertive communicator. An assertive communicator here, the ideal for workplace stand for themselves. They know how to communicate and advocate for what they want. They also use hand gestures and have happy facial expressions, of course, share how they feel in a productive way, and have high self-esteem. Maybe you can ask yourself, like, which one of a communicator are you within these four different communication styles? Passive communicator, people who doesn't speak up too easily. Aggressive communicator, people are very confident in their point of view to the point that they won't listen to others' opinion. They just support their opinion. They be like, this is what is true. This is like, they just support their opinion. And when it comes to passive aggressive communicator, this one that doesn't feel comfortable saying what they mean. Yeah, they just keep quiet. But an assertive communicator, here is an ideal for workplace. This is what we're talking about. This is very good for a workplace. If you have this kind of communicator, or if you're this kind of communicator, it's an ideal for team play. Yeah. Going forward here, understanding feedback. What's feedback actually? When you say feedback, Rajan, feedback is a response to something. It can be given to people, process, products, or services. And in a workplace, it could between employee. In a workplace, it could between employee, manager, and stakeholders. That means in a workplace, maybe in Slack, maybe in Ten Academy, maybe wherever it can mean, sorry, a bit. Sorry, something like happened here. Sorry for that. Yeah, I was saying, understanding feedback. Feedback in a workplace, it could be between employees, managers, or stakeholders. Giving an example of Ten Academy, uh, employees, trainers, trainees, maybe managers. Another point here, it provides also responses and evaluations and insights regarding performance and workplaces dynamics. And here it's also a tool for improving individual performance and teams as well. That's what we say as a feedback. Going forward here, understanding the types of feedback. There's different types of feedback. Positive feedback expresses satisfactions and encouragements, even motivations. There's also negative feedback. The negative feedback points out what could be improved or changed. And there's also suggestion specific to ideas or proposals for doing something different. There's also evaluation. Evaluation, this one assess quality of performance. And when it comes to reaction as well, this one expresses of how someone feels about something. This is another type of feedback. The last one but not least, we have the request. Request feedback is sometimes feedback is a request for something to be done differently. So I hope you can understand this type. Maybe you can also see how where you relate or where you lie when it comes to this feedback, when it comes to receiving feedback, when it comes to giving feedback. You give a positive feedback. Is it a negative feedback? Is it suggestion? Is it maybe evaluation? You're evaluating something, you're assessing a quality or performance. Reaction is maybe you're reacting over something, or maybe you're reacting, you just got an email and you want to reply in kind of a reaction, expression of how someone feels about something. That's also a feedback. Request, you want to request something. Maybe you're requesting a leave at work. Maybe you're requesting salary in advance. That's also a type of feedback. Yeah. Going forward here, without further ado, workplace feedback can be many forms. There's many forms of workplace feedbacks. When evaluating performance, that's number one. Number two, improving process. When we are improving process, and when open communication, when we are having open communication, we are talking like maybe me and my manager, or anyone and with anyone. Another one is also motivation and growth. There's problem solving. There's also 360-degree feedback as well, and the customer and stakeholder. We're gonna see this. We're gonna see all the explanation in the career challenge document, which I will share right away after the session. Yeah. So there's also PAF technique, performance analysis, and feedback. That's what it means when it comes to PAF techniques. The PAF techniques, there's 3 steps approach that targets and overcomes the root cause of the problem while giving touch feedback. Another point here, we can say the PAF technique valuable for managers and coaches, better performance and a strong relationship. Uh, Performance, when it comes to performance, performance start by praising the individual, acknowledge their efforts, enthusiasm, and engagement. Even if work outcomes isn't ideal, find something positive to highlight. You can find more here on this link. If you click, you will find more when it comes to performance and a peer feedback. Yeah. So going forward here, talking about analysis, analyze or analyze the situation objectively, identify the specific issue or behavior that needs addressing. These steps helps you clarify what to focus on when giving feedback using this methodology of PAF. When it comes to feedback, finally, provide constructive feedback. Use precise language to communicate your observations and recommendations. Be confident in your conclusions. Free free from biases. Don't bias on one side. When maybe you've got this kind of feedback or maybe this kind of communication, when you're going to give a feedback, don't bias, don't side, don't take side. Yeah. Going forward, there's also tips for effective feedback. Number one is start, stop, and continue. Use the three-step structure to provide direct and simple feedback. Here we have something I would like you to start doing is, that's one constructive way you can state your feedback. Something I would like you to start doing is, then you state something that you're requesting someone to do. Something I would like you to stop doing is, if you want someone to stop something. Something I would like to continue doing is, encourage actions and keep the ideal that feedback is a gift. Feed forward. Instead of dwelling on past mistakes, focus on future improvement. Ask, what can you do differently next time? There's also another tip here, which is one-on-ones. You should also use your regular one-on-ones meeting to discuss feedbacks. Create a safe space for open dialogues and growth. These are the tips for effective feedback. Start, stop, continue. These three steps: structure, there's feed forward, and one-on-ones. The start, stop, continue. I've given an example here. Something I would like you to start, something I would like you to stop, something I would like you to continue. That's also another effective tip for feedback. When it comes to feed forward, instead of dwelling on past mistakes, focus on future improvement. Don't just judge people up on their past mistakes. Just focus on the future improvements and ask what you can do differently next time. If you have done something maybe in a wrong or something. When it comes to one-on-ones, use regular one-on-ones meeting to discuss feedbacks and create safe space for open dialogues. Whether you're a manager or whether you want to have that meeting with the manager, this should be a very effective way to effective feedback. So there's also handling constructive feedback at work. Handling criticism is difficult but necessary for an employee. So to use criticism to improve, you need to learn how to listen, and you need also to learn how and understand and apply the suggestions. Those are the three main points when it comes to handling constructive feedback at work or in any organization or in any workplace or workspace. So to handle criticism here, you control your reactions. Just control your reactions. Before you speak, before you react, control it. Think twice. Try to not take it personally. Process the criticism. Give yourself some grace. Show appreciation. Don't dwell on criticism. And finally, apologize conservatively. Yeah. How to change the way you feel about criticism. If you want to change the way you feel about criticism, maybe someone is criticizing you or you have this kind of criticism. Number one, think of the best of the critic. Be self-aware, listen, respect the negative criticism, and also learn. There's also scenario here. Your team This is just a scenario, and I will read. Your team member, Sarah, has been with the company for a year and has shown a good potential. However, recently, we have noticed a deadline in her performance and a lack of attention to detail, resulting in errors in her work. You are a team lead and have been managing a project with a tight deadline. One of your team member, Robert, approaches you with concerns about your management style and its impact on the team's performance. His concerns is on you to be clear about the group's objective, and you rarely communicate feedback to the team's work. These are the two scenarios. Going forward, let's see the career challenge. But before we see the career challenge, let me see if you have any question. Or maybe if I can repeat the scenario before maybe it get confusing in the career challenge. Yes, Kasamamo?
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. It was a nice presentation, and the concept that you have give us, especially communication and feedback, is very important for one organization in between
Mhm.
the organization's work and workflows. Maybe my
Yes.
question is under the feedback, which is 360 feedback. I don't understand about this. Maybe can you explain further?
Okay.
Forms
Uh,
for feedback, yeah.
Amazing. That's a very good question. Let me get in on that within the career challenge. I think there's that part of 360 degree feedback. Then you get to understand more. And unless you have any other question, maybe I can answer it for now. Okay, amazing. Thank you. Okay, so do we have any other question before we go further to the career challenge? It's 360 degree feedback. Amazing. Yeah. So any other question? No question. So let's go right away to the career challenge document. Give me a sec. Mm, As I'm presenting, how was the last challenge? Are you done? I think the deadline is today. We have updated the document, the challenge document, the careers challenge document. It's updated with the deadline, and the deadline is today. The week 5. That, yes, as an announcement. I'm trying to present the career challenge for this one. Give me a sec. Why is not presenting? Okay, I got it. Okay, amazing. So here is the career challenge, and of course, Kifiya Master Training Program, feedback delivery and accepting criticism. The deadline is 28th, and here's the background. You are a team leader at EBC. Okay, maybe I'm gonna read this as well. So I think this is important for you to understand the exercise. So you are a team leader at ABC company, overseeing a dynamic and talented team of 15 individuals. Your team has been assigned a critical project by senior management. Project Delta. The management has outlined a plan that involves a specific approach to project execution, which you and your team believe might not be most effective strategy given the team's expertise and the nature of the project. Key points. Number one, project overview. Project Delta is a high-profile initiative for the company aiming to develop and launch a groundbreaking product within the next 7 months. The success of this project is crucial for the company's growth and market position. Milestones. Milestone number one, research and analysis to be achieved in 1 month. Number two, prototype development to be achieved in 2 months. Number three, testing and iterations to be achieved in 1 month. Milestones number four, final product development to be achieved in 3 months. The timeline here, the project is expected to be completed within 5 months. Resources, the project team members were assigned different tasks based on their years of experience within the company, and external consultants were hired for some testing and iterations. Number two, team concerns. Resources allocation here, teams members are concerned about the allocation of resources being based on years of members are underutilized while others are overloaded. A more balanced distribution of tasks based on individual strength and expertise. The team member also don't understand the idea of hiring an external consultant for testing and iteration because they know that two members of the team are testing experts and can do it perfectly. Timeline feasibility. Here, our timeline feasibility here, your team member expresses doubts about the feasibility of completing certain milestones within the proposed timeframes, especially given the complexity of the task, and they recommend a more realistic timeline that uh, allows for through research, development, and testing without compromising quality. A maximum of 11 months. That's what they request. Decision-making process here. Your team is uneasy about the top-down decision-making approach. It feels that their valuable insights and expertise are not being fully leveraged. They would like to advocate for a more collaborative decision-making process that involves the team in the key decisions, ensuring all a well-rounded perspective. Here we have the task, our exercise of today's career challenge. Your task is to bridge the gap between the management's plan, your team's concern. Your goal is to ensure understanding and a shared commitment to the project's success on both sides. What are you going to do? Write a Slack message to the senior manager communicating your team's concern and proposals. Number two, imagine that the senior management approves the resources allocation, proposals feedback, but rejects the timeline and decision-making proposal. Write an email convincing the senior management about the importance of the team's timeline and decision-making process proposals. Number three, imagine that the senior management still rejects the proposal on the timeline and decision-making process and tells you that the timeline will remain as 7 months and the decision-making process will remain top-down approach. Number 3A, write down the detailed steps on which you will communicate these final decisions to your team to ensure that they understand the final decision and are ready to come on board and work on the project happily. Number B, what will your communication focus on? Example, write down the general topics you will focus on while communicating this. Number 4, imagine that one of your team members decides to resign from the company because he thinks the senior management team is being very dictatorial. How will you communicate this to the team to ensure stability with the team? Submission, of course, your responses should be on a maximum of 10 slide PPT, just 10 slides, convert it into PDF and submit the link to the 10X. Here a disclaimer, some people have been going through the gradings, and some people tend to submit wrong submission. They just submit other documents related to the career. So be careful when you're submitting, because you end up losing the marks. Yeah, I think the rubrics, the email submission, and I think, okay, coming back to your question, Kasamam, I think there's not that part in the career challenge, but you asked about this 360 or 360-degree feedback. So 360-degree feedback is a performance evaluation method where an individual receives feedback on their skills, behaviors, and performance from multiple sources. These sources typically include maybe supervisors or managers, peers or colleagues, maybe your workmates, trainees, anyone, subordinates also, if applicable, in that organization, in that workspace. There's also self-assessment, customers, and external stakeholders. So this feedback process provides all well-rounded view of an individual's performance and behaviors in a workplace. That's why it's called actually 360-degree feedback. Yeah, I think you have answered your question. Is it right now?
Yes, I mean, I understand.
All right, amazing. Thank you so much. So do we have any other question maybe about the career challenge before we wrap up? Okay, I think, so I think that is it. Segai is just joining right now. We are ending. Maybe you will see the recording, but we're just ending. So here is the exercise, and the deadline is 28th. So all the best. See you again on 10X while grading. I think your week 4, I mean, yeah, week 4 will be returned today. Week 4, week 5, week 4. Yeah. So thank you so much, and have a good day.